Hello, my name is Ted Lederer, and you're watching another episode of It's All About Art. And today we're in conversation with artist Andrew Tong at his studio in downtown Vancouver. Andrew, thank you for inviting us.
You're welcome, Ted.
It's lovely to be here again.
Oh, thank you.
Now, the last time we were in the studio, it was for an exhibition that you did at the Elliott Lewis Gallery about a year and a half ago. And you have an upcoming exhibition this February 8 to 26. And the title of the show is Modern Times. What is Modern Times?
I got it from the Charlie Chaplin film. It was sort of slant on the totalitarian state. If anyone's ever seen it, it's all machinery. It's like this Orwellian vision that Charlie Chaplin put together with a sort of a sarcastic sort of sense of humour, which is always the way I look at things, because I've got an odd slant on where we're progressing as humans.
So how so?
I've always been a people watcher, an observer of people, and I've always been interested in politics and history, and sort of we seem to be repeating ourselves throughout history. You know, we've been pushed into things we don't want to do, but I sort of pose this question: do we need to be? Would the world be chaos if we didn't have these governments that sort of organise us and corral us into these different facets of life?
So anarchy is not the answer?
No.
But your work really is a comment on how individuals interact with authority in the state.
I grew up with a war generation, and I guess that reflects a lot of it. You know, there was a lot of extreme governments around then.
So a war generation in that your father
and mother served in the Second World War, but they grew up in a
and then their parents had served in the First World War.
Yeah.
How does that affect? How do you think that affects a family?
Everyone's affected who comes back from a war. My granddad had a terrible time in the First War, and that his reaction to his family was, you know, a lot of violence and a lot of temper issues and a lot of things that he'd seen come out on his family, and that was passed down to my dad, who passed it on to me. You know, there was bullying and anger issues all through my childhood with my parents, and I guess that reflected it a lot. It wasn't the good old days as everyone made it out to be.
Right. Do those, for lack of a better word, those negative kind of emotions that are passed down and that become part of you, do they get tempered in the act of painting? Is painting a catharsis?
Yeah, no, it does help a lot. I mean, it takes a lot of that edge off things, but I'm not angry. I mean, all the stuff that happened to me, it's all a learning process. That's how I look at it now. Everything that's gone on, and, you know, good, bad, or whatever.
Well, I don't see anger in your work.
No, I'm not an angry person.
And it's everything from, you know, some work that is on the macabre side to the very sublime. It's right across the spectrum, as it should be if it's a comment on man and mankind.
Yeah, I just like, you know, it's not necessarily what the pictures are. I just want people to ask questions about them. You know, there's a question in most of the pictures. There's a story and a question. You know, is this still what we want? Is this the way we're going? You know, just to look at yourself like a mirror.
One of the, I guess, characteristics of your work is that there's lots and lots of room for the viewer to create their own dialogue and their own story in your work.
Yeah, I like people to make up their own mind what's going on. Sometimes it's a bit vague, but, you know, I'd rather not say anything and let people make up their own mind. And, you know, it can swing both ways. I've had a lot of harsh comments and a lot of good ones.
Are you using reference images, or are these completely out of your head?
I use photo reference. You know, there's a lot of research involved in each piece, but after the initial looking at it and perhaps using some of the tracings, it gets put to one side, and basically everything else is totally out of my head and made up as I go along.
Andrew, is there anything else that you'd like to tell the viewers about this body of work and this exhibition, which really ranges from the really odd to just the sublime? It's such a broad range.
Yeah, I have a really odd way of looking at things. I guess you know, it's really hard to explain sometimes. It all fits together to me. It's that, you know, that all those observations. That it's just that spirit of humanity. It's all the little. I guess there's defects of character that I like painting.
Defects of character. Great title for your next show. Thank you, Andrew, for inviting us. My name is Ted Lederer. We've been in conversation today with Andrew Tong, and you've been watching another episode of It's All About Art. We'll see you again very soon. Bye for now.